Hello everyone, welcome to our online class. Well, again, this is teacher RJ, and today we are still in our unit 4 in the book. And unit 4, we're talking about decimals. So here, part 4b, we'll be discussing about dividing of decimals. Okay, so because there's quite a number of rules and tricks and uh, shortcuts or anything, we will try to discuss it in this topic, in this video rather. Okay, so let's start here. What we have here is dividing decimals by a whole number. Okay, meaning we have a mixture of a decimal and a whole number. So in this problem, as what you notice here, you say using short division. Yes, you can use short division, but make sure that your divisor is only a one-digit number. What I'm talking about, so look at this example. We have 0.6, this is a decimal, divided by 2. So here, this is your dividend, and this is your divisor. Okay, 0.3 here is the answer, and that's what you call as quotient. So if you have this kind of problem, you can use short division by just simply doing this. Okay, what we have here use 0.6, so that will be inside our short division sign or symbol, and then divide it by 2 as our divisor. So as what you notice again, our divisor is only a one-digit number. So if you divide that 0.6 divided by 2, you can just right away get an answer of 0.3. And that is your answer. It's just basically 6 divided by 2 becomes 3, but since it is decimal, so 0.3. Okay? That is what I'm talking about. Short division. Okay? Now, let's try again another example in which we can use a short division. We have here 0.818. Again, 0.18 divided by 3. Again, our divisor here is a one-digit number. So the same thing, you just put it on inside the division, short division symbol, our dividend, which is 0.18. So if you consider, if you think of it like we have 0.18 divided by 3. Remember, this is a two-place decimal number. Okay, so it's on its hundredths place. So what we got here, 18 divided by 3 is 6, right? Since this is a on its hundredths place, so meaning you have to add up 0. Okay, so 6, then again move one more place because it's on its hundredths place. So that is why you get a 0.06. Okay, again, teacher, you might be asking, why is this having a 0 here? Because again, as I said, this is a what? A decimal number that goes on its hundredths place. So if you just put there 6, it doesn't make sense at all. Why? Because our dividend is on a hundredths place, so meaning your answer here must also be on its hundredths place. So that's why you add up 0 here. 0. Okay, again 0, that represents the whole number, 0.06. Okay, I hope you understand this. Okay, so that is for short division. Now let's look at on the right side of this PowerPoint. Now we are using long division because now our problem is 47.85. Divide this by, okay, let me put this down so that it's easier to understand. Divide this by 15. Okay, so now here you cannot use short division. Why? Because your divisor is a 2-digit number. So I think this time you understand what I'm talking about. 2-digit number, 1-digit number, or single-digit number. So here you have to use long division, in which, again, look at this long division symbol. It's pointing up. So here we get 47.85 divided by 47.85 divided by 15. So of course 15, what you got here is 3, becomes 45. Again, okay, this is supposed to have a subtraction symbol there. Okay. As well. Also this one. Oops. Okay, so that's actually what it is supposed to be. Okay, let's move this. Let's move this. Okay. So again, if you have a 2-digit number as your divisor, you have to use, again, what? Long division. Okay? And again, you have to treat this as a when you divide, maybe if you're calling your grade 5 or grade 4, when you divide a decimal number with a whole number, treat this decimal number as a what again? Treat it as a whole number, and then when you finish dividing everything, you just put your decimal point to where it is belong to. Okay, so that's actually for long division. Okay, actually this one I think you already learned much in your grade 5. Okay, so let's move on here. The other way of dividing decimals is by when you have dividing decimals by decimals. Now again, this time we gotta use long division. Okay, the first thing you gotta do is to rewrite the problem. So that's what is happening here. You rewrite and use the long division sign. Okay, use the long division sign. Now look at this. Make the divisor into a whole number, meaning this one. This is your divisor. So you need to make this into a whole number so that you can proceed and do the process. Once this your divisor becomes a whole number, then you already know what to do. Remember what we learned on the previous video? If you have, look at this, if you have a whole number there, just use a simple long division and ignore the decimal point at the moment in the dividend area. Okay, let me move on here. Okay, make the divisor a whole number by moving the decimal place to the right, and do the same with the dividend. So meaning, if you move this here one place, you also have to move this one place. So that's what happened here. So the 3.4 becomes 34, your divisor. And then, okay, hold on. I just moved. Okay. So after that, after you move this one decimal place to make it a whole number, you also move this decimal place. Originally the decimal place 0, right? Remember? So you move it one place because you move one place to the right, because you move one place to the right here. Okay, so that's the outcome. Okay, now once you have that, all you got to do is to proceed using long division. Okay, again, how it works. So we got 34 here, so we use 5. So when you use 5 multiplied with 34, you end up with 170. So subtract it, and then it becomes 4. Bring down the 0 there, so you get 134. Okay, then after that, subtract again. So you get 40 minus 34, you get 6, and bring down this 8 here, so you get 68. Okay, 68. And then after that, you multiply it with 2, then you also get 68. So that's the end. So your answer now, then after that, ignoring this decimal place, you put it back, then you put it back there where it belongs to. Okay? So that is dividing decimals by decimals. Okay, now, so actually, in the previous operation we did, it seems to be very fast. And why it is very fast? Because this is already taught to you when you were in grade 5. For us here in grade 6, we are more on this, not on the long division or short division. We are now finding quotient using the relationship between decimals and fraction. So that is actually the other way of finding the quotient of a decimal number. Okay, let's start with this one. Look at this. So we have here 1.8. Let's continue with this one. So what we have here is 1.8 divided by 5. Now, look at this. Again, finding quotient using the relationship between decimals and fractions. Okay? So, how are you going to do this? As what you recall, I think if you can recall, if you can't, then you have to go back to my previous videos on this. How to convert decimal to fraction and fraction into decimal. So you can go back to that video. So here, now look at this. We have 1.8. How to convert this into in a fraction form? As simply as look at how many decimal place you have here. So you get 1.8, so that's only one decimal place. So one decimal place, the first decimal place in a decimal number is on the 10th place, right? So basically all you got to do is to make this into a whole number. There on top it becomes 18, and your 18 becomes your numerator, and your divisor is the decimal place here. Okay, so since there's only one decimal place, so that's on the 10th place. So that is now how it becomes 18 over 10. If you don't believe that, you can try to divide this. Use long division, 18 divided by 10. Then you end up 1.8. Okay, now, so much with that. Let's continue. So, divide this by, how about this? 5 is a whole number. How to make it into a fraction? Just put a denominator of 1. So that's how it becomes 5 over 1. 5 over 1 is the same as 5. Right? Okay. So after that, if you can remember when we learn about dividing fractions, remember the rules? Okay, you write down and copy the dividend, and after that, change your operation, your division operation into multiplication, and do the reciprocal of your divisor. Again, reciprocal is like a reverse or a somersault of the fraction. So that's how it becomes 1 over 5. So after that, then now you can multiply both numerators and your denominators straight away. So that's what happened here. So 18 times 1 is 18. 10 times 5 is 50. Now, look at this. So what you notice, so how about this, teacher? How are we going to because this is a fraction, our problem is in decimals. Then this time you get to recall again how to make this fraction into, or convert this fraction back to its decimal form. And here how? Remember the 10, 100, and thousands? Find their common multiple. Remember? Try to find your common multiple to make your denominator into 100, 1,000, or 10. Remember that? So here, we got 50. So how am I going to make this into, you can make this into 10. It's already 50. So the next you can do is to try to make it into 100 or 1,000. But then 50 can be make it to 100 for a denominator by multiplying its common multiple as 2. So we multiply this by 2. If you multiply your denominator with a certain number, you also do the same on your numerator. So you won't be changing the value. Okay? We are just doing the equivalent. Okay? So what will happen here is we are making this into 100, so that's 50 times 2, it becomes 100. Then 18 times 2 is 36. Actually, this one and this one are the same. This is what we call as equivalent fraction. Okay, they're the same. Okay, we already discussed this in our previous videos. So anyway, so look at that. So we have 36 over 100. So, teacher, do I still have to divide this? No. Why? Your denominator is 100. So all you got to do is to write this down and move. So that's what happened here. Just move to find your decimal point, move your decimal point to decimal places from right to left. So that's what happened. 1, 2. Why 2 places? Because you are on the hundredths place. Your divisor is on the hundredths place. Okay? If you don't understand this, then you have to go back to our previous lesson on relationship between fractions and decimals. Okay? So that's how we get 0.36. Again, if you ask me, teacher, do I still have to divide this? No, you did not, because again, as I said, your divisor is 100. If your divisor is 100 or 10, denominator. Okay, if your denominator, sorry, not divisor. If your denominator is 10 or 100 or 1000, just write the number and move your decimal point according to your denominator in base 10. 10, 100, and 1000. Okay? Now, what is this? Teacher, what is in the right side? Okay, here, this is just an explanation if I will use long division. So again, you will end up the same answer. Okay? So that's just an explanation that using a relationship between decimals and fraction ends up with the same answer if you use long division. Okay, I hope you understand that. Okay, I think I still have one more example here. Okay, here, look at this. We have dividing decimals by decimals, but this time we have both are what? Decimal numbers. There's no whole number here. So that's what happened here. So again, how to convert this into a fraction? Just look at this. How many decimal places here? So you get 100, so you just write 17408 or 17,408 divided by, since we have 2 decimal places, so that's hundredths place, so your denominator is 100. Then divide, copy the division sign. Then here we got 3.4. How many decimal place? 1. So 1 is 10, right? 10's place. So write down 34. Take out the decimal place, a decimal point. 34 over your denominator. Your denominator, will be 10. Okay. So then after that, again, do the same thing as what we learned on dividing fractions. Convert the operation, the division's sign or the division operation into multiplication. copy the dividend, change this division operation into multiplication, and do the reciprocal of your denominator. So now 34 over 10 becomes 10 over 34. Now after that, you do the cancellation. If you still remember how to cancel or divide this, like see, cross multiplication by canceling. So 10 becomes 1, and here 10 divided on 100, you can use 10 here also. And then this one, you can cancel out 34. This one is divisible by 34, so you get 512. So your answer here is 5, okay? 512 over 10, and if it's 10, to put it back to its decimal form, so just write 512, then move 1 to the left because it's 10. Your denominator is 10, so meaning your decimal point will move 1 decimal place. Okay? To the left, yeah? To the left. I hope you understand this. Okay, and then one more example here. Okay, let me see. Yeah, we got one more example before we finish this video. So again, we have another one. We got 6.25 divided by 1.25. Okay, again, so this is how many decimal place? We got 2 decimal place, meaning our denominator is 100. So just write down 625 over 100. That is now in our fraction form. Then copy the division operation symbol, and then here, look at this. How many decimal place? Again, it's on 2 decimal place, meaning your denominator is 100. So you just write 125 over 100. Again, do the same thing. Copy your dividend, copy this here, and change your division operation into multiplication, and do the reciprocal, meaning reciprocal you invert. So it becomes 100 over 125. So here 100 and 100 cancels out, and 125 can also cancel with 625. That becomes 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. So 5 over 1 is also equivalent to 5. So that is your answer. Okay, so I hope you understand this video. If you don't, you can ask me in our group chat in Line apps. Okay, thank you very much for listening to this video. Hope to see you again on the next video, everyone. Bye bye.